Pangolin 1.13, we're introducing zero trust network access in addition to the web browser-based remote access that Pangolin already enables. This means you can use the same Newt site connector to facilitate both reverse proxies to access your resources through your web browser, as well as any other TCP or UDP resources like SSH or RDP or databases can be made available through a desktop client installed on Windows, macOS, and Linux. I'll give a brief demonstration showing this all in action. This diagram here shows the network topology that I'll be working with. So I already have a Pangolin server running, then I have a remote network off somewhere else in the world. And then in that remote network, I have two virtual machines. One of them is going to be running Grafana, and the other one is just a plain old virtual machine. Then I'll install Newt, the site connector, to virtual machine 1. And then I'll define resources for Grafana, and then another resource for virtual machine 2 for SSH access. I'll give it access to my user, and then I will install Pangolin on my laptop, and then be able to connect into the network through logging into my Pangolin account. And then I can access each of these resources individually. Moving on to the Pangolin server, I'm going to log in with my account that I've already created. And then the first step is always to define a site. So for this, I'll use the familiar Newt site connector. I'll call this VPC. And then I'll use all these defaults, and I'm going to install with Docker Compose. So I'll go ahead and select this Compose template here, click Create Site. Now I'll install the site connector on the first VPS with this IP address here. So I'm already SSH'd in. I'll edit the Docker Compose, which has my Grafana instance running, and then add Newt from before. Then I can save the stack and then do Docker Compose up to actually start everything up. Going back to the Pangolin dashboard, I can see my site is now online. So the next step is I create individual resources for the things that I want to get access to. On the sidebar, I can go to Resources and then Private and then click Add Resource. For this, I'll call it Grafana and then select the connector that I've already created. Then there's two options for mode. I can do host or CIDR. A host is a specific IP address or machine you want to access on the network of the connector, whereas a CIDR is a full network range that I want to get access to. So for now, I'm going to go back to our diagram, and then I'm just going to take this IP address, which is what's running that Grafana instance, put that in as the destination, and I'm also going to give it an internal DNS alias. So when I set this alias, when I'm connected to the Pangolin client, it'll resolve this host name locally over the tunnel, so I can use a friendly name when connecting to Grafana. So I'll go with grafana.ec2.internal. I can also add specific users and roles that can get access to this. So if I wanted just developers to have access, or members and developers, I can also do specific users. And then only these users, when connected, could access those resources. So I'll go ahead and create it. Now I'll create a second resource for this other machine for SSH. So I'll copy that address. Same thing, I'm just going to call this SSH, choose the connector, go with host. I'm just going to put in a destination now, no alias, and then create the resource. Now is the part where I can connect into the network with my laptop. So I've already downloaded the Pangolin client for macOS. So I'm going to go ahead and start that up. And on the first time you start it up, you'll notice it'll give you this message. Just make sure to click Open System Settings and then toggle Pangolin app.on and then put in your password. This is required because it has to install a VPN configuration for macOS. So also click Allow here, and then you should be good to go. Now I can log into my client. So in the menu bar, I'll click the icon and then click Log into my account, choose Self-Hosted, and then enter in the host name of my self-hosted server. Then click Login. You'll notice that it will take me to a page to complete an authentication step. So I'll use the same Pangolin account that I used before to log in. You can also use your identity provider here. And then it'll make sure this code matches between what's being shown on the dashboard and the client itself. Click Continue, give authorization, and then I should be connected. Back in the menu bar, now I can choose my organization. For me, I just have one, but if I had more than one org here, I could switch. Now I can connect, and in the background, it's going to use the credentials that are now on my system after logging in to create a tunnel. It's also going to set up the local alias records for the different aliases I've set up, and any routes that I've set up for individual destination IPs or entire CIDR ranges. And this means I can use those familiar addresses when accessing them locally. So now I should be able to actually access Grafana. So I go ahead and copy this, and then in a new tab, go to Grafana 3000. And there we go, now it's being resolved over the tunnel, and it's super easy. Going back to the diagram now, I'm going to SSH into the second destination we created. So what's super nice about Pangolin is I don't need to run a Pangolin connector on every single machine I want to connect to. I just need to put one in a network somewhere, just drop it in, and then anything that network connector can address, I can connect to. So for us, we have Pangolin running on VPS1. Now I'm going to SSH into VPS2 at this IP address here. So back in my terminal, I can go and put in an SSH command. I already have one set here in my history, using that same IP address we created in the resource earlier, and then go ahead and SSH in, and it should be a simple connection, and then I can do all the stuff I would expect to do because it's a raw SSH connection. So finally, just to demonstrate the CIDR mode, which will make the entire network range available, I'm going to delete the first resource for Grafana, and then I'm going to change this type to be CIDR, and then change the actual destination to be .0.0.16, which is the full range of this VPC, and then save it. And then now I should still be able to SSH into that same machine from before because it's part of that network range. So back here, we put in the command again, and boom, look at that, it works. And since we deleted the Grafana resource, this alias is no longer going to resolve, but if I use the IP address from our diagram from before, instead of the alias, since this IP address is also in the network range, I should still be able to access Grafana directly, and it looks like it's working. So moving on, now I'm on Windows. I just showed the Mac client, now I'll just quickly show how the Windows client works, and the good thing is that it's exactly the same for the most part. So once you install it, which I've already done, you launch it, and then it'll actually put a little system tray icon down in the bottom, just like on Mac, and then I can follow the same login flow by choosing self-hosted, putting in my instance name. I'm just going to add HTTPS here, and then clicking login. And it'll open up my browser, and then I'll be required to use the same user or any user that you want. Go ahead and authenticate, give it permission, and then I'm connected. Now I can go back down to the bottom here, click connect, and in a moment here it'll turn orange to show us that we have successfully connected to the server. Okay, then now if I go to that address, :3000, it should work and load the dashboard. So wrapping up, that's the quick demo of this new VPN capability of Pangolin using the client apps. There's a lot of work we have to do, including mobile applications, as well as the ability to firewall specific ports and protocols on the resources themselves. But we think this is a solid start, and we hope you give it a try.